No desire and no intention to impose our form of government on anyone else.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. Today is Monday, October 21st, 2024, and if today is not that date, then you are watching a replay. Sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. We're broadcasting live on United Public Radio Network, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in New Orleans. Also broadcasting live on our social media, and the show is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association. I'm your host, Ryan Stacey. I'm a licensed private investigator. And as the Director of Investigations for the Experiencer Support Association, I use my investigative skills to dive headfirst into the hidden mysteries of UFOs, paranormal activity, and consciousness phenomena. All right, thanks for tuning in. Let's say hello to everybody. I see a lot of hellos. Hi, Jillian. Hi, Jill. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Chris, good to see you. Heidi from Colorado. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for saying hello. That's quite a bit of you. And Coley. Nicole Weber, awesome. I see you liked it. Participate in the chat. Say hello. Cool. I think you got your own podcast now, don't you? I don't know. I haven't talked to you in a while. Got to catch up. All right, kids. Let's get into the news. All right.
Tessa News and Updates.
Okay. I'm going to change this background. Oops. There we go. Okay. So, nothing super new on the website except for a couple updates to the way that things are going to work behind the scenes. So I'll explain it because you're going to miss it, but it's quite complicated in terms of what we had to do to make this happen. I'm taking some extra measures to be able to input more information in a systematic way and also have it categorized. So the way to explain that is sometimes when I write these articles, the date that I write this article is not the date that the document in which I'm speaking about or the event in which I'm talking about. It's not the same date. And that becomes an issue when we're on the timeline. Okay, so if the posted date shows up on the timeline, then it's inaccurate. So what we've done is we found a way to be able to trick the system in such a way that you're going to see a posted date and a release date. So May 17th, 2024 is when that document was released. Okay, and September 3rd is when I published this article. Because we're going to have a lot of articles coming out that are talking about documents from the past. And this is important because then now when we go to the timeline, it's on May 17th. So it's in chronological order. Another thing that we're doing in terms of updates is we're going to have categories set up here, which is something I wanted to do because this timeline is expanding. But there's a lot of different things going on. Like, for example, that's a paranormal document. Doesn't really blend too well with all these UFO reports, even though I understand that it's connected. And some of you who are working with the ultra spectrum classification system start to understand how it's connected. But sometimes you got to look at it separately. So we're working on a little bit of a feature where we can customize, where you can have a full timeline of everything, or you can just see UFO, just see paranormal. I might do a couple things. I'm going to say biblical things, but I mean like a timeline of information and theology and religion. So it'd be interesting to get all that stuff in the timeline, and then you can measure what's going on in the world and all of these spectrums at the same time, or look at them separately. So it's very similar to what we do in the visual evidence database, where you can check these on or off in order to determine or plan your research. Right now, it's automatically set to have everything on. So I'm going to uncheck these, and I'm going to find the case of the day. And if anybody has any questions, let me know. Other than that, that's it for really updates. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes to get ready for a push on information. There are some things in development, working on building the team a little bit as well. And hopefully we'll start seeing some information, because I have a lot here. It's a lot of work to get it out. And then from there, I'm also waiting for Canada to release their Sky project. They said they were going to do that in the fall. It's now the fall. Then they said they're going to do it this year. So the year hasn't ended yet, so I'm still waiting on that. So depending on what they decide to do with their UFO thing will really determine what direction I go as far as ufology goes. A lot of you know me for ufology, but ufology is sub-level to all the things that I research and that I investigate. But UFOs are the only thing I can prove, or at least work with in this three-dimensional scientific world. If you want to go all woo and crazy, we can go all woo and crazy, but you got to invite me on a podcast or ask some questions, and we'll go from there. All right. So I think that's it for updates. And today we are talking about aerial activity. And if nobody has any questions, then we'll segue.
Aerial activity, sensory display.
All right. So today on the timeline, I believe. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention the podcast tomorrow night. Danny Whitson is interviewing Bruce Rapuano, talk about alien abduction, neural implants, and humanoid beings. So that should be a good show. October 22nd, season 6, episode 41, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Two white lights moving in a circular pattern. So let me find that here. And Yellowknife. So put my labels on. Northwest Territories, Yukon. Is that the Yellowknife? Let's go. No, that's not it. We did that one last week, I believe. Yes, we did. This is it. This is the one we're going to start with. All right, two lights moving in a circular pattern, and Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. All right. Points of interest. All right. So this is another video of air traffic control audio from the pilots. And I can read the transcript for you guys on radio. Just give you a little heads up on it, and then we'll go from there. All right. So this is actual pilot audio that was retrieved when we knew about an event in the KDORS report 2023 C0560. That's the code for that. If you guys want to look up that case. Okay. All right, so on January 30th, 2023, at approximately 06:15 Zulu, a Canadian North flight from Fort McMurray, Atlanta. Is that Atlanta? Alta? To Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, reported two white lights moving in a circular pattern as they approached their destination in the dark. All right. Their reports first appeared in Transport Canada's online aviation incident database. The audio recording of this conversation with air traffic controller in Yellowknife was taken from the liveatc.net. And for more details, see that report and see those clips. And the audio clip has been edited. So for length. So here's the transcript. Towers Arctic 5071, Yellowknife Radio. Good evening. Good evening. Just wondering, do you got two planes that are just to the east of your field doing circuits or maneuvers? So good validation there, good explanation to try and see if you can get validation. Negative, I have no reported traffic in the area. Do you have a visual on something? All right, so nothing on the radar. Yeah, we're looking at two lights dancing around here to the east of your field. They're above us. So dancing around is the term that was used to describe them. So are they literally dancing or are they just moving around? But they are above them and they don't appear on radar. Right above us, about I don't know what, we're not seeing them on TCAS, but we can see the lights moving around. I don't have anything on the radar either. Let me talk to center. So Arctic 507, Yellowknife Radio and Audible, go ahead. Hey, center doesn't have anything about my movement about any movement in the area. So I'm really wondering what you're seeing there. Yeah, so are we. Have you said they're over your position? Oh, they're above us. So that's pretty confident in what they're saying. We're in an audible, so probably a flight path of 12,000 feet or flight level. We're 30 miles back from your field over the lake. And yeah, we're seeing them just to the east of the city by maybe 20 to 30 miles, but they're well above us. We saw them when we were going through 20,000 feet. They look somewhat parallel for altitude. So I saw them as they were going at a higher altitude, but they look like they were parallel. So they could very well be attached to the same craft if anything comes of that. All right, I'm trying to look. I don't see them from the ground here. Well, I'll keep an eye out. I'll talk to center again. Yeah, no worries. They're not a risk to us. We just want to know what it is. If you guys had a ping on the radar, no, we got nothing. That's quite strange. Do you guys want an advisory? Yeah, sure, might as well. We're on runway 34 direct at this time. So they're escalating it. Hey, this is Victor. Report 5 miles final. And let me know if there's any movement with those planes or if they get closer or anything. I'll try to figure out what's going on. Yeah, so far they're just lights that come in and out, but there's 2 of them that are moving around in a circular pattern. So now they're moving around in a circular pattern, either this way or this way. I don't know. That information isn't available. Okay, it could be 2 different ways. 507 is on a 10-mile final runway 34. We still have that traffic in sight, so they can still see what they know is in the air. So their systems are working. It's looking about 10 nautical miles directly northeast of the fields, maybe about flight level 270 or so. So they're saying they're about 10 nautical miles northeast or northwest, question mark. Northwest on the field. Yeah, 10, 12 mile-ish. Well, I'll let you inaudible. We'll talk on the ground. Sounds good. So they're going to land in taxiing Alpha Bravo to first air. So they're in taxi. So I'm getting ready to take off. A few questions for you when you have time. So there's a few people having this conversation. Yeah, go ahead. We're actually just having a visual of it when we went down 34 here. So we get confirmation from somebody else. Roger. So you reported 2 lights in a circular pattern, 10 nautical miles northeast of the field. I think we spoke around 0615 Zulu. And what flight level were you saying? We're at 240 and it was above us. So we're guessing about 270. So that's quite high, 270,000 feet above sea level. Have you said that you just saw it or had a visual on them still while landing? Yep, we had a visual as we went down 34. Okay, so I just reported it to center. They will look into it. I'll file a service report. This is what we have. Some sightings that we cannot explain, but I don't know if you guys have something you can do the same on your side, but we'll for sure look into it. All right, thanks. Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled out there for the to the northwest. You might be able to. Yeah, I'm trying to look, but I don't see the light. Can you see? Can you see them on the ground? From the ground, let me know when you're in the right direction. So traffic. So they're trying to figure that out. Traffic Yellowknife Radio. Do you have a visual on anything on the right of the northwest of you? No, I don't see anything here. It just disappeared. All right, Roger. Okay, we'll keep an eye out if there's anything. Blah, blah, blah. Whole night sounds good. And then it just continues to go on. And then somebody else pops in, asks about the lights, and then people start talking about it. So I think it says, yeah, were the lights blank white? Roger, thanks. You were not crazy. No, we believe you. So there's some, some indication that there's some belief in there that these are a phenomenon of some sort. Yeah, kind of hit or miss coming out of the northwest of kind runway. What? And it comes and goes, so it looks like it's kind of circling, and then it kind of disappears again. I'm trying to look at this. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one. Thank you for everything. All right, so that was just a little bit of jargon there. But so essentially, this is good piece of evidence of the pilots communicating properly, the air traffic control working together to try and figure it out. Yes, we get to hear it. Yes, we found it because it gets wiped after a certain amount of time. this is helpful because they're actually talking about things that they can see that aren't in the sky. So January, let's do a little bit of work on this. January 30th is the date. So I'm going to have some fun here. Let's, if we go, if anybody has any questions or comments, please share. If we go into investigations and look at, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's take, I don't know if I have these in the system yet. So I'm just copying the code in my search bar here. So I do have that. No, that's the same one. So I don't have anything duplicates of that. So we must not have got the service report for that, or you haven't uploaded it yet. Okay, that's not a big deal. So here's how you start with trying to verify some of these things. Okay, you got the date, we got the time. Okay, Zulu. Okay, that's the general time. So if you're in a time zone, actually there are resources on the website. Let me see here. So if we go to investigations, you go to research and investigation tools. Okay, I'll put that in the comments below if anybody wants to use these. Okay, very helpful when working on cases. And you can kind of look at what you have to look at. So we want to try and recreate this event. So we know the date. Let me get back to that case. Sorry, too many windows open. I'm not crazy. Just the way my brain works sometimes. Okay, so we know that's the time. So Zulu. Okay, so my time zone, I think there's something in here. Let me see here. So if I need to understand where I'm looking in the sky, I do have these searchable mapping systems. We have some tools. So we would like to have a time zone converter. That's important. Okay, or a time zone map. That also could be good. Zulu to local time converter. So these are all different types of converters. They're free, but I have them there. But this is essentially how we would use it. I would pull these up. Okay. So I haven't looked at these in a while, but a lot of you guys watching, but no comments, just listening. Come on, Matt. There we go. Okay. So Zulu. So this is a neat little tool here. We know it was 6:15 in the morning, Zulu time. So here it's set for Eastern because that's where I'm at. You can change this. So I'm looking for 6:15 in the morning, and we're right around here. So that's about 2 a.m. our time. But this is important to understand because we also need to know where it's happening. So we know it's happening in the Northwest Territories. Okay, so what we're going to do then is, hi, listening. Thanks, Heidi. Let me see here. We can use this in the sky, night sky guide. That's pretty cool. Google Earth Web is actually, no, we won't use that one. Flight radar we can't use right now because a lot of time has passed. So we're likely not going to find it. Stellarium is nice that you can use. Let's see here. Because what we need to do is we need to find, yeah, let's use Stellarium if Stellarium's not, yeah, we're good. Okay, so this is tricky. So I need to see the sky, okay? January 30th, 2023. January is the first month, right? Last time I checked. Well, it's actually not the first month. That's Aquarius month. So that's, I think, the 12th or 10th month. I don't know. Remember, the calendars that we use today is wrong. So then we look at the sky from the 30th. Then we go to our time zone if we want to look at the sky. Okay, you can do it two ways. It's best to look at it in your time. In their time. because the sky looks different. So I could look at it at 2 a.m., but I'm also looking at the sky from the eastern side. So what we want to do is convert that to their time, but I haven't used this in a while. Let me try and figure this out. They might have moved it. Full screen, dark sky, constellations, near old Toronto. Can I change where I am? Perfect. All right, so, and do we have coordinates? Let's check with this piece of information. Do we have coordinates? No, we do not, unless it's in these reports. So another resource that we have here is a map searchable database. Okay, so we're going to use KDOR query searches. Okay, this is where I can take that KDOR's number. And once I find it again, copy that, paste that in here, put that in there, take a search. Here's the report, and see if the coordinates are here. Coordinates are not here. But I probably have it in my file somewhere. I'll have to look for it, but I don't have it readily available for that. I would have already done the work on it anyways. So for the purpose of this experiment or this example, I do not have the coordinates, so I don't know. So what we have to do is kind of figure out, okay, from Fort McMurray, yeah, it was Alberta. I knew that. So there was a typo there. Approach from runway 34 at F20 report 2, white lights approximately 3,000 feet above them. Circular pattern. So this is where they were traveling from. That airport to this airport. So we're going to try and find TYMM airport. So just a quick Google search. All right, there's my address. That's where the event is happening. I'm going to copy and paste that, and that's where we're going to look at the sky. Okay, does that make sense? Hope so. Nothing found. Of course, nothing's found. So why is nothing found? Why would you not work? This is not my system. So Stellarium, you need to update your system because it doesn't seem to be working for me. All right, let's do that. We'll take it. Fort McMurray, Alberta. That's where I'm at. Okay, so we're going to use that location. Use that. So now we're looking at the sky in their time, like where they are. So now we have to consider the time zone. So this time is still set for Eastern time. So then I'm going to have to change the setting somewhere. This does not work as well as the desktop one, which is the one I always use, to be completely honest. I don't use this online one very often, but I added it to the timeline, to the resources because it was free. The other one you got to pay for this one. All right, so okay, we're unable to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our time zone. So we know that I'm looking in the sky, so this will be 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But if it's using that area, I don't see anything that indicates what time zone I'm in. So, which kind of sucks. So let's go. So we're on the 30th. We want to go all the way back in time. That's noon. It's too early. 21. I'm going to go into 6 o'clock, 6:15 in the morning. Okay. So we're looking at approximately, this is the sky. Assuming that this has automatically changed the time zone because I moved it over. I can't confirm that, so we'll look at my time zone as well. Now we're going to recreate the event in terms of the way it was described. So traveling, what way were they traveling? So now we need to know their direction of travel. So report 2 lights northwest. So now we know where we're looking. So this is north, this is east, this is west, northwest. This is what we're looking in the sky. And this thing here, you can add constellations. You can change the atmosphere a little bit, landscape, if you want to pretend that the world isn't flat. all these things. Deep sky objects, night mode, no, none of these things. All right. So then while I'm looking in the northwest, okay, I have everything on that needs to be on. Where's the satellite thing? I don't see it. Then I hit play and we watch this. Then we go back just a little bit and we just watch the sky, right? So I can fast forward a few minutes here, click, and try and see if anything that we know of is in the sky, right? So you got two lights here. These are two stars. That very well could be it. They look parallel. That could be what they're seeing. Their altitude is quite high, light years away, if you believe that. That's more than likely not what they see, because they wouldn't be dancing, because stars don't move. They're fixed, right? Or, well, depends on what you believe in terms of space. But so we don't really see anything. There doesn't appear to be any satellites that are moving around at this time as well. That could explain it. So this kind of lends some credibility to the idea that nothing should have been in the sky. No celestial object anyways. If we got this in real time, we could then go and use the flight radar, which is then becomes... So you got radar box, that's a good one. Real-time air traffic is good. Historical air traffic is good, but you got to have a subscription to go back in time. But the way this works, if you can actually track in real time the flight path, if you have the information as it unfolds, or within the last 30 days or 7 days or something like that. Not very often do we get this information where we're able to get real-time data, but this is a good resource to use. In this example, it doesn't really help. Arnold, thanks for the like. I see you there. So in this particular example, I wouldn't use that. If I could search the flight number, I don't know how historical this information really is. Do I know the flight? Do I know it though? Currents type, current day and night, Aerodome, Northwest Territories, Prairie, Northwest. I do not have the form. Oh, maybe this one is it. We'll see. Let's see what happens. I'm just really doing this on the fly here. Yeah, here we go. Canadian North flight trafficking. So that's just one of the most recent flight paths that this particular craft has taken. So, it's quite these things are really good resources to use in real time, but unfortunately, they're not very helpful when the experiencer doesn't provide a lot of details or the government withholds information. So if I have all the information, I'd be able to probably figure this out. But what does it sound like? Now another thing we can check, well, January 30th, meteor showers. I don't think there's any meteor showers on that time. I don't want to see one. Meteor activity January 5th. That's a little early. I don't know. I think the Geminids, Perseus, I think those are not near this time. So then this here, we can kind of maybe rule out shooting stars that are deliberate or meteor showers, but that doesn't mean it's not space debris. So it's still where very well could be that. So then we're left with just looking at it face value. Okay, so let me just close these. Two lights dancing in the sky, white lights. So there could be drones. However, the flight level that they were seeing on descent is 270 flight levels. So 270 flight level is the equivalent of 27,000 feet. Okay. So what flies at 20, all these things. These are the questions that you want to ask. What flies, right? That's, planes flying that stuff, but that's basically the normal range. I do think I have something on here that tells me Tells me those references. List of drones eligible for advance. Is it a meteor shower? Oh, I guess we could have done that one. Fireball events. Let's look at that. List of drones eligible for advanced operations. That's if we're trying to identify a specific type of drone, but we're not doing that. Airline codes we don't need. Rocket launch. We could check that. It might have been a rocket. Flight simulator is pretty cool if you want to put yourself in the pilot shoes, but have fun driving that. It's not very easy to do, but that's kind of a cool little thing to look at. Let me see here. Weather underground, weather's not relevant because we're trying to figure it out. Yandex open source search engine. Sky map, light pollution, don't need that. Prohibited airspace for flying drones. That would be useful information. Satellite. That could also be useful. All right, we'll take a look at these, and I will explain to you how they might help narrow this stuff down. For the GPS coordinates, don't need that. Sitrec, don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay, so we want to check for meteor showers. January 30th. Let's see here. In real time. August. So let me see. January. Keyword search. Yeah. So basically, the 3rd and 4th of January is where these major meteor showers happen. That doesn't mean they're not fireballs or any of that stuff could happen, but that's essentially it. Here you got a list of events, so you can actually find the date if you know it, which we do. So let's search 2023. We're going to search Canada because that's where it happened. Search. Yeah, did that change at all? 24? 23? There we go. Okay, so it did change. Okay, so now we're looking for January 30th. But now the code is 2023-01-30th. And we don't see anything on that page. There's the second page, though. Maybe it's there. All right. So keyword, search for that. Nothing. So that means no meteor was reported to that. So it might not be a meteor or a fireball, or somebody didn't report it. Got to think about that too. Just because the data is not there doesn't mean someone wasn't negligent or it wasn't that big of a concern. So we can rule that out. Now, was it a rocket? Well, or a launch of some sort. You've got two lights dancing with each other. What's the odds of that? I don't really know. Past events. Let me see here if we can search. I think we're limited on the search for this too. But if you're ever wondering your locations, where everybody fires their weapons from, their rockets from, you can use this as well. So the closest launch pad in our area, depends on where it's going. So, this is the area in which we're dealing with. You could use that if you wanted to rule that out, but still, there's not enough data to go from there. This drone. Now here what this is important to show us on areas that drones are not allowed to fly in. So this would be relevant if we knew exactly where it happened, but we don't. We just know it was traveling from one place to the other. So somewhere in Alberta, up here somewhere. I would assume it's not in this area or any of that other stuff, blah, blah, blah. So we can't really use that. Now, live Starlink. Let me see if we can go back. Can we go back? Now, if you guys believe in this horse crap of all of these little satellites in space, yet you can't see them in front of the moon for some reason. But if you do believe in that, you can use this. I kind of ignore this stuff, but you can also get an idea of where Starlink is because they have to report that, and you can measure that in the sky. So you can use something like this to also determine and go back into the events to figure out where that might be. I don't have time to show you that in the show. Hey, Heidi, thanks for saying goodbye. We'll see you. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoying and learning things. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. So if we had coordinates, we could put something in there, but we can also look at Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. What do we see here? So this is information that you can use to try and rule those things out. There's not enough data there. We don't want to use that. Can't use that. And that's it. So that's why we're kind of left with this. We don't really have a lot of information to disprove it. But we also don't have enough information to prove it. So therefore, it stays unidentified. All right. It also could be inconclusive, depending on how you want to categorize it. Okay. If it's inconclusive, that just means there's not enough, or there's enough evidence, but to believe that the event has taken place, but there's not enough evidence to confirm or deny what it is. If it's unidentified, that means we've ruled out some things. And if you can identify it, then there's no true identification, because you're essentially just proving beyond a reasonable doubt or a balance of probabilities that it's more than likely a drone or a rocket or a space debris or something to that effect. So with the information we have on this report alone, there's not enough to conclude. But why is it still on the system? Because it's actual testimony, experiencer testimony from somebody who is in the sky. All right. Restricted. I thought I had this somewhere. Flight zones or elevations, I guess. I had a list, or I think it's in one of my books that I had this list. So anything above 45,000 feet, okay, there you go. Not allowed. Most commercial planes have call service ceiling up to Interesting, ceiling. Can't have a ceiling if there's not a roof. Meaning, for you flat earthers out there. Legal altitude a plane can fly. So the lowest they can fly, obviously, for descent, and they're taxiing when they're about to land. That makes sense. So why don't planes fly at 60,000 feet? That's true. Well, military planes can. And that's the other thing, too. It could be military. We don't know. This is transport. We really don't know. So there is a service report that I'll have to dig up for a later episode, or find it once I get organized with my notes. And that's another thing, too, is I've kind of fallen astray from these cases and following up with it, because designing the website, building Tessa, getting it out there, marketing, doing the campaign, doing these things and these podcasts and all these things is great for entertainment, but it's taken me away from doing the actual work. So I am actually actively trying to get back into just doing cases, so that way I can give you real information as it happens, not trying to recall my work without my notes from 2023. I apologize for that, but it is what it is. Okay, so do we have time for another case? Let's look here. Unless you guys have some questions, I would rather talk to you than myself. Please ask something while I look for another case in this area. So we have a base here. Don't need that. Visitation. Government building, bases and stations. Turn that off. And the next case in our area, we've done that one. Clan Lake. And I think we're heading into Yukon now. So this is, we talked about this. All this stuff back in here is when all those crafts that were shot down, or objects that were shot down by our government. So I think we're heading to Alberta now. Right on. Crap. All right, these are good cases. This case I want to spend some time on. So Chris, if you remember, if you're watching, at least get to this point. This is next week's case. We're going to talk about this one. I got video evidence. I did a lot of good work. I have this featured in my book. This is a really nice case. I want to talk about that one, but then again, that was 4 years ago, so hopefully I can remember all those details. So we're still in aerial activity. I got that guy there, and we got, this is crop circles. You guys want to talk about crop circles? Anybody? I'll give you like 30 seconds. We'll do crop circles. All right. So this, well, how big is this one? Or how long is this case? Yeah, it's a short one. We can talk about this one. We got time. So let's segue into, so it's a crop circle. So how would we categorize crop circles on the ultraspectrum classification system? So try and figure it out on your own. I'll walk you through it. All right. So we look at the second part here. Sensory display. Did one of the senses? Yes, it could be a sensory display, but it's not aerial activity. It's not paranormal activity, so it's not that. It's not it could be a visitation if you've seen some beings at these crop circles, but the circles themselves are not visitation. Beings observed obviously aren't beings. It's not a hybrid case, psychogenic. It's not of the mind. It's in the three-dimensional, so we're left with residual evidence because it was left behind. This in particular is an external effect, and the environment was affected. Okay. And that includes markings, implants, missing limbs, cattle mutilation, crop circles, EMP pulses, extreme weather conditions, etc., etc. Okay, so that's how we would use that one. So residual evidence is the video of choice. Here we go.
Residual evidence.
Okay, so we'll close that. So this is in Alberta. Circular impressions were reported near Camrose, Alberta, Canada. All right, so this is an old picture we got from the government of this alleged crop circle. I forget who's looking at that, but this is the line here. Okay, for you guys on radio, you want to head over to the website, experiencesupport.org. This is the document that was declassified. I have it transcribed here for better reading. On August 8, 1967, a Mr. Patridge of Camrose, Alberta, reported that finding of a number of circular impressions in a pasture in the vicinity of the town of Camrose, Alberta. An investigation was conducted by an officer from Canadian Forces Base, Edmonton, and the company, Dr. G.H. Jones of the Defense Research Board Experimental Station at Suffield. All the marks exhibited the same general appearance, a ring 6 inches in width with diameter varying from slightly over 31 feet to 36 feet. So that's quite a large circle. No evidence of host was evident, but a definite impression in the ground, which was soft from recent rains, indicated distinct pressure. Some slight evidence of movement in a radial manner along the marks was visible in the grass had been pressed down in a definite direction. No physical evidence that would lead to the conclusion of deliberate interference or involvement of any person was found, nor was there any trace of chemical or radioactivity in the area. So if there's no radioactivity, now, no physical evidence that would lead to the conclusion of deliberate interference. So that doesn't mean it wasn't deliberate. Okay. We go back to what they said here. 6 inches in width. What could it be? A wheel could be 6 inches. Right. So how do they make crop circles? We know crop circles can be fake. How to make crop circles. Like there should be a guide on that. I think they put a board and they step on it and things like that, right? So, yeah, I think they step on planks. They've done these. This can be artwork, right? This isn't new. People are capable of doing artistic things here on Earth and passing it up for something, right? I got some comments here. Lisa says, crop circles are interesting. A friend of mine investigated one, was amazed in what he found, how it was done. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for your friend. Thanks for their service to this research. Arnold says, have not seen much on Canadian crop circles. We'll learn on this one. Yeah, there are quite a few. but unless there's evidence, I'm more likely to think it's more man-made. But I put that one up there because it came from the government, so a little bit more credible than anything. Best evidence. He says, Lisa continues, he doesn't believe it was man-made by people that was trying to pull a prank. Yeah, well, there's a belief, but do we know for sure, right? So that could be inconclusive or unidentified, however you want to classify it. So all the marks are the same general appearance. So whatever they used were likely the same tool or same method. A ring of 6 inches in width, if you say wheels 6 inches in width, like to give an idea, do they exist? Okay, we can probably figure that out, right? So it's not entirely impossible for humans to do this. Diameter was slightly over 31 feet to 36 feet, so it's quite big. A definite impression in the ground, so that indicates where the force was. Soft from recent rains indicated distinct pressure, right? So if they're stepping on it, that's your distinct pressure. Some slight evidence of movement in radial manner. So if it is a wheel, it's very possible that they continue to spin it around. Could very well be man-made to get some attention back then. Who knows? But then it said no evidence. There wasn't any trace of chemical or radioactivity in that area. So for those who think the crop circles are interesting, you need to examine those crops. You need to take some of those crops. The nodes on crop circles swell when there's radiation, which is actually quite interesting to look at. What kind of crop is it? I guess wheat crop. Let's take a look here. Let's see the node. Not a node. Yeah. So these things start to swell when there are radioactivity involved. I've seen some pictures of the swelling. Instead of breaking, I've seen it. It looks interesting. The pictures have been verified, but I've never seen any of this stuff in my person. So let's see. I really doubt that Google would allow me to see this. Oh yeah. So on that note, if we go back to research investigation tools, and go down to this Yandex open source search engine. What the hell? My firewall? Come on now. I'm not a robot. This is an open source, so we can say crop circle nodes. Let's see here. Images. See if I can get anything on here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. I have a picture somewhere, but I don't really have it on the spot. So let's just say wheat nodes. I don't know, I'm wasting too much time on it. But the reason why I like this is because here's an example here, like Google. And you guys can hate me or love me, but search flat Earth on Google. You're gonna see a bunch of cartoons and things like that. Blah blah blah. You search on Yandex for flat Earth. You're gonna start to see more of the same, but you're gonna get into some detail images that kind of help explain the theory. Stuff you would not see in Google. Oh, Mark, that was a great chat with him. I gotta get him back on the podcast one day. So anyway, that's just an example. So Google likes to make fun of things, as we know, and Yandex appears to show things like like the truth. Freemasonry. A lot of people think Freemasonry. I haven't looked at that on Yandex. I'm just killing some time here. See, that's a lot nicer than what Freemasonry in terms of images goes, but it's not just images. It's also the information that they provide. Right, a lot of things get buried, but these things are. This is a very good search engine. I would highly recommend it. Jewish exposed, 33 exposed. What are they saying about Freemasonry exposed? What do we do now? One day I'll have to talk about Masonry with you guys. Because it's quite funny how they come to these conclusions. But here's another example. Earth. Okay. Planet Earth. Okay, for those of you who probably, planet Earth. All of these images here. Let's see index. Where's Google? There we go. Planet Earth. Something we should all know. All these images. We're supposed to believe that all these images are the freaking Earth. I mean, all I see are cartoons. And I see even more cartoons over here. So I have a challenge for you guys. For you guys who don't think that the Earth is non-rotational and we are the center of the universe. My challenge to you is to search Google, search the index, search everything you can find, and find me an image that does not look CGI. Find me that, if you can find one. The original blue marble photo, all those things, Jesus. I have it on my wall. I don't want to show you everything over here, but maybe I can find it. First picture of Earth. Are you going? No, first satellite image of Earth. Let me see if that comes up. Shows me. No. Where is it? Come on. There's something interesting I want to show you while I have the few minutes left here. I'm not going to see it. Probably not in Google. Well, maybe. Oh, I did get it from Google. Where the heck is these aren't it? Hold on 1 second. Photograph was taken January 6, 1967. All right, pardon me. I got my hee-haws on, working in the yard. Okay, January 6, 1967. Okay, 1967. We got a year here. And then we're going to go over here. Do the same damn thing. Darn thing. Pardon me. Did you guys take it off? Really? No, there it is. Right there. This is from Russia. This is a Russian picture. Very first image. So, question. Taken by the SS satellite, 23rd November 1968. Whether or not this has actually happened or not, well, I'll take you sleuths there to figure this one out. But, why is there a hole in the center? Not saying the world is hollow. There's definitely something they don't want us to know. And I'll leave you on the I'll say Gleason's map. All right, let's go. I hate Google, but there we go. There we go. It's the map I got over on my thing here. All right, so this is what's been blocked out. There's something going on here. I bet you my bottom dollar that this is where, I bet you this is where the aliens are. 100%. Right here in the center. I bet you, if they do exist. But I don't have enough time to explain my reasons behind it. I don't need to explain my reasons behind it because I know what I know. And I know a lot of you don't know what I know and haven't seen it yet. And it's not my job to convince your beliefs. I'm not going to try and change your thoughts. I will challenge them sometimes because what's important is whether the earth is its one shape or another shape, it really doesn't matter. But if it's not the way as it's been told to us, and we're doing research and we're doing measurements and we're trying to find things, we'll never find it. So when you work with different types of maps, different theories, different versions of events, different texts for the Bible, different translations, there's lots of interpretations here, lots of interpretations of the map. I got various different types of maps from different years over that have been recorded. And when I see them all on my wall here, on this side, which you guys never get to see, maybe one day I'll snap a photo. You can really start to see that a lot of these things are very similar up until the year. What was it? What year was it that NASA bought Disney Studios from? I can't remember. Oh yeah, that's probably something else you want to look up to, what NASA used to be. But anyways, I'm going to leave you at that, and might as well play this video.
The Fringe, Geocentrism, and Ancient History.
I should have led with that, but maybe one day we'll dive deep into maybe talk about mud floods. We can talk about Tartarian. We can talk about free energy. We can talk about a whole bunch of crazy things that make more sense than UFOs. I hate UFOs. I really do, because there's just crap going on. I really don't believe in it. But you never know, right? One lie is enough to question all truths, as they say. And one day we might get that smoking gun, but I don't think it's coming from the government. And I'm pretty sure. And if we're in a enclosed system, as you know, some people believe, we're not going to get aliens. Not going to get aliens, but in the three-dimensional sense. That does not mean they don't exist in the ultra spectrum or the ether, the other place. All right. Okay, so we're going to leave it at there. Thank you for tuning in to this. Where are we here? Yeah, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Skeptical Sleuth, broadcasting live on United Public Radio Network, Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM New Orleans. We're also broadcasting live on our social media, and this show is brought to you by the Experiential Support Association. Remember, one lie is enough to question all truths. Okay, thank you for watching. Keep your eyes in the sky, and as always, heal the world. Peace.
If you want to really, really find out about Ryan, ask him about all his work and UFOs in Ontario.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada.
I have used his research extensively. He's much more than a one-dimensional character. He's an authority on UFOs and investigating them, Meg.
Wow!
Really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. For starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them.
He would come out with an annual report on not only the number of sightings, but how many were unexplained, unknown, or just, nothing could be said. What caused it?
If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.